guys, so I am to the point where I am ready to continue in my holiday prep series, and today's video is the recipes that I'm going to be making, the shopping list, how to kind of categorize and organize that, and how to make the timeline for cooking everything. That's the stressful part. So first, I have all of these recipes available on my Pinterest board, Thanksgiving 2014. So I will link that below if you're interested in any of these recipes that I talk about in the next, hopefully, 2 minutes. I have a lot of recipes, so I'm gonna talk like really quickly. So I printed off all of my recipes. I have a Thursday pile and a Friday pile. We're doing 3 days worth of Thanksgivings, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Saturday, we're getting takeout with my family, so it doesn't really matter. Thursday, my husband's parents, my in-laws, they are hosting Thursday, and then I am hosting on Friday. Thursday and Friday are both my husband's side of the family, and then Saturday is my side of the family. So for Thursday, my mother-in-law is in charge of making the turkey, so I don't have a recipe for the turkey itself, but I know it's gonna be just a basic recipe, some olive oil, throw a lemon inside, and some salt and pepper. I don't really think there's anything else that's going on her turkey. I do have a recipe for ham as well in case we need extra meat. I don't really know. We're still kind of up in the air on how many people are going to be there. We're thinking 8-ish, somewhere around there. But if we need another recipe, I do have a recipe for a crock pot ham. So check my Pinterest page for that, with pineapple and sugar and ham, and that's really it. Then you put it in the crock pot and it just kind of cooks all day as is. Seems like a really easy recipe. I don't think we're gonna need it though. So what I am bringing is a really good, actually, crock pot stuffing recipe. This is by, what's the girl's, I can't remember the girl's name, but it's Crockpot 365. She did crock pot cooking every single day of the year, and she is gluten-free, and so a lot of her recipes are gluten-free or could be made gluten-free. If necessary, if they're not already. So the stuffing recipe that I have on my Pinterest page, you can find it there. I will have to make some substitutions for, just because of my husband following a low FODMAP diet. We're trying to make everything as FODMAP friendly as possible. So I am going to use gluten-free bread. I'm going to leave the onion out, and I'm going to leave the apple out, and I'm going to substitute some carrots. Other than that, everything else is as is. I made my own chicken stock, so that's in the freezer ready to go. Everything else is, yeah, just as is. So check this recipe out. It is a really, really great recipe. I have made it before, and I really enjoy it. It's a big favorite, and it tastes, you know, just like regular, like stovetop stuffing without all the MSG and junk in it. So then another thing that I'm bringing, I'm going to be making some roasted carrots, and I have this recipe on Pinterest too. Really basic. You don't really need a recipe for roasted carrots, but I have one, so I'm going to be making that. And then I'm going to be making a gluten-free pie. I'm actually kind of doing a hybrid of 2 recipes. So the first recipe that I have actually on my Pinterest page is the Nutella swirl pumpkin pie, and I'm going to be leaving the Nutella out, and I'm going to be substituting the milk for a lactose-free kefir, which is Green Valley Organics. I've talked about them in way long ago hauls from Whole Foods. So I will have to drive up to Whole Foods. Whole Foods is about half hour, 40 minutes away from me. So I'll have to make a trip to Whole Foods, but that's okay. I'm happy to do it. And the crust I actually make out of ginger snaps and butter, and it turns out really, really nicely. So check out this Nutella pumpkin pie if you're interested in that. The ginger snap just adds a really nice texture and taste to the pumpkin pie. It's really good. So then on Friday when I'm hosting, I'm actually going to be doing a roast chicken. I'm going to roast it in the oven. It takes about an hour at 425, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of garlic olive oil on top, a little bit of like squeezed lemon on top too, with some salt and pepper. I'm just going to cover it with foil, bake it in the oven for about an hour, hour and a half at 425 degrees, and that's that. So that'll be our meat. I have that recipe sort of on Pinterest. I have a slow cooker version, but it's the same general idea. I'll be using garlic olive oil though instead of regular garlic. And then I have 2 crock pot sides that I'm going to be doing. I have a crock pot sweet potatoes with a hint of orange. This is actually a low FODMAP recipe as is, so I don't have to make any substitutions or changes to it. And I think the orange will go really nice with the lemon garlic chicken. I think that'll be good. And then I had no idea you can cook rice in the crock pot. Have you guys ever heard of that? I've never done it. I don't know why you couldn't do it, but it's just never something that I've ever done. So I'm gonna be doing that, and then my dad has a seasoning kind of for rice recipe that uses saffron, so it makes it like a really pretty yellow color, and Trader Joe's carries a really inexpensive saffron in a little tiny glass container. So I do have some saffron, so I'll be doing his version. I think it's really just saffron, a little bit of chicken stock, some salt and pepper. I don't really think there's a whole lot else that goes in with that. I might do a little bit of a curry in with it, but I don't know. I don't know if it'll even need it. And then for dessert, what I'm making, I actually tried this weekend, and it was the best dessert I have ever made in my life, and I am totally not joking about that. No, I've made some really good desserts, but I think this one takes the cake, and it was even good for breakfast the next day. It's the blueberry strawberry crisp that I have on my Pinterest page, and I actually omitted a lot of the sugar. I didn't really need it. And I didn't know I didn't need it, but I'm glad I omitted it because it really is as sweet as it needs to be with the fruit in it. And I left the almonds off, and the flour that it calls for, I just ground down some gluten-free oats, and that was my flour. I just ground them down in the Vitamix, and that was it. And it's such an easy recipe. You like literally dump it all into a bowl, mix it around, dump it into a pan, top it with some crumbly stuff, and bake it. That's it, and it makes the house smell like pumpkin or like blueberry pie. I mean, it was just delicious. And then we put it in the fridge for the next day. Great cold the next day for breakfast too. I did have ice cream on the side. I don't even think it really needed that, but I probably will have ice cream this time too. All right, so those are my recipes for Thursday and Friday, and now I'm ready to make my shopping list, and I'm going to show you how it is that I do that with all of this mess of recipes in my lap right now. Let's do that. So in my planner here, you can see that I taped some Post-it notes into the front of like the back side of the cover. And what I'll be using these for are for grocery list, one for each grocery store. But what I want to do now is I want to get all of my food items down on paper and the amounts that I need, and then I'll know what stores I need to get what item from. So in here I do have a place for a shopping list. So what I like to do is I like to take each recipe and I see how much of each food item I'm going to need per recipe. So for this, it says I'm going to need a pound of carrots. If there are other items that I have a plethora of, like olive oil or salt or pepper, I'm not going to write that down on my shopping list because I don't think I'm going to need it. So olive oil, I have plenty of. Salt, pepper, other seasonings as desired. Foil, I have foil. I have a baking pan. So I'm not too concerned with any of the other items that are on this, so I'm just going to move on. Okay, so in my stuffing, it looks like I need a loaf of bread, which I already have in the freezer, so I'm not going to get that. This also needs carrots, so that's the last thing that needs carrots. So I'm going to say 2 bags, just to kind of estimate that. All right, so I need butter, parsley, I have the broth, and some of these spices that I do not have. So I'm going to need sage, marjoram, savory, and thyme. And I think that's it. I have everything else, so I'm going to move on. So now that I have everything marked, I also wrote down Trader Joe's, Kroger, or Whole Foods, depending on where I'm going to be going to get all of these items. And then what I'm going to do back here is I'm going to put the shopping list per store on a Post-it. So 3 Post-its, really. one for each store. So now it's time for my favorite part, and everybody else's favorite part too, I'm assuming. I don't know. The timeline. The lovely timeline. All right. So on Thanksgiving Day, I have the luxury of getting up early and then, you know, not having too much to worry about on Thanksgiving Day. This is the day I'm not hosting. My mother-in-law is hosting, but I'm bringing a lot of food over. So I have my Thanksgiving Day timeline. I have my Friday, Black Friday timeline. I am hosting on Black Friday, and I'm shopping on Black Friday. So I don't have the luxury of doing a lot of the prep work like in the morning, because I'll be at the shopping stores, you know, probably starting at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. I normally get all of my shopping done, and I'm home by about 10:30. So you can see my timeline starts at 11 instead of 7 like it did on that page. And we're eating at 3, somewhere between 3 and 3:30 each day. Like, that's our dinner hour. And then what's great is that on Saturday, I have a timeline spot, but I don't need one because we're getting takeout from somewhere, so I don't have to worry about it. So I'm not concerned about that. So it's just the Friday and the Thursday, mostly Thursday, but you know, that's all right. So how I set this up, I actually don't jump in on my timeline yet. I take my recipes that I've had here, and I write up in the corner how long it's going to estimate for the prep work, if the prep work can be done ahead of time, and how long each item takes to cook. So let's jump in with that. So just as an example, so you guys kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about. So for this, I'm going to have to make the crust by itself, which is 10 minutes. So that's 10 minutes here. And it'll take like no time at all to actually make the crust, so I'm just going to leave it at 10 minutes. And then the filling cooks for 45 minutes. It'll take about, I would say 15 minutes to prep. I'm going to say 5-minute prep here. It shouldn't take very long at all. And then the recipe says the pie is good 4 days, stored in the refrigerator. So I am totally going to make this probably the day before because I can. So that's what I'm going to do. So all of this stuff I am not concerned about because I'm going to make it on Wednesday. And I'm going to make a note of that here. So there we go. Easy as that. So what's odd is that my timeline does not look that intimidating, which is a good thing. So I'm doing a lot of the prep work on Wednesday. This is my Wednesday checklist. So I'm going to be making the pumpkin pie on Wednesday, chopping the carrots and the celery for stuffing. I'm just going to be putting that in a Ziploc bag so I can dump it right in the crock pot. I'm going to be toasting the breadcrumbs for the stuffing, and I'm going to be washing the potatoes, the sweet potatoes. And that's for Thursday or for Friday. But other than that, I don't really have to do a whole lot of other prep work, which is awesome. So then for Thanksgiving Day, all I'm really going to have to do is the crock pot stuffing. Just toss everything in the crock pot starting around 1 o'clock. And then I'm going to roast the carrots starting at 2:30. And I need to remember when we leave to not forget the pie. So I have, don't forget the pie. On my list. And then Friday's a little more involved, but not awful. At 11 o'clock, I'm going to start on the crock pot rice, and if for some reason Black Friday goes too long or whatever, I can do it on high in the crock pot at 12:30. And then I have time at 11:30 to get ready for the day, do my shower, do my makeup. And then at 12:45, I need to start the prep work on the chicken and get that in the oven around 1 o'clock. And then at 1, start the sweet potatoes and get those chopped up and in the crock pot by about 5 after 1, and then make the crisp at 2, and company arrives around 3:30. At 3:30, I'll also want to turn the music on, so I'm just gonna put that here. Turn music on. I have, if you're like, what music are you talking about? I have a Thanksgiving Essentials video. I will link that below so you can see what it is that I'm talking about. When I'm talking about turn the music on, I found a really good YouTube video that has really nice Thanksgiving music that would be playing through our TV, so I thought that would be a really good thing to do. So honestly, guys, this is the easiest timeline ever that I've ever had for a Thanksgiving meal. I'm kind of hoping this is not underwhelming for you guys. I'll be doing the prep work on my house, getting it cleaned up and ready to go on Wednesday, because we're going to be gone for a lot of Thursday. So I'm going to be doing it on Wednesday. Wednesday's going to be my big prep day, so I'll be sure to do a video on that day so you can kind of see what it is that I am doing, setting the table, what I'm cleaning, getting clutter out of the way, you know, all that kind of stuff. Alright guys, well those are the basics on how I am getting myself ready for the food portion of Thanksgiving. Hopefully this gave you some ideas on how you guys can stay organized if you're doing one Thanksgiving, multiple Thanksgivings, hosting or not, really makes no difference. Everybody kind of needs to have that plan in place so it's not crazy on that day. I have had that day, I've had the crazy. Not good, not a good thing. So anyway, if you guys are interested in these recipes, check out my Pinterest board, Thanksgiving 2014. I will link that below. I will link below a lot of other things too, so open the info bar so you get all that information as well. And I'll see you again very soon. Thanks for watching, take care. Bye!